Today we're going to make a simple stew in our Dutch oven. The ingredients you're going to need for this recipe are... What I'm going to do first is sear my meat with my onions. So I'm going to just take a little bit of vegetable oil. You don't need a lot of this, just a little bit in your pan. And then I already cut up my onion and I have my deer steak here. Meat, you can use any kind of meat you would want, even if you had squirrel, rabbit, grouse. I have venison. Beef works fine too if you don't have access to wild game. And I'm going to just throw all this in. Onions, get this way so you guys can see the deliciousness going in. And let's get all this in the pan. I want to just get this seared, and then we will start to concoct our stew. Okay, so I want to share this with everybody. I'm going to show you something. So you can see how those onions are starting to stick a little bit to the bottom, and that meat's starting to brown up. We want that to happen because, watch when I add my little bit of water for my stew. See how that water is starting to remove all that from the bottom? That's just going to add a lot of flavor to it. So what I'm going to do at this point now is I'm going to add about 4 cups of water to this, and this is going to begin our process. I'm then going to add some carrots that I cut up. Just throw them right in. And now I'm just going to bring this to a boil. Alright, so what I'm doing now is I'm just cutting up my potatoes, and my stew is at a low boil. So what I like to do is throw 2 bouillon cubes in. They're beef bouillon. I don't break them up or dissolve them or anything because the hot water will break them down, and I'm stirring my pot every couple minutes just to make sure everything's getting mixed up real well. When do I put my potatoes in? I'm going to put them in when the carrots get soft because the potatoes will cook pretty quickly. So I'm just getting a little jump start on them while I'm hanging out here. And then we're going to be very close to being done. It's a very simple recipe. It's a really good recipe. I use this a lot when I'm out here in the woods. So just keep on chugging along with it. Have ourselves a good lunch. Carrots are soft. They're not overcooked, but they're starting to get soft, so it's time to put our potatoes in. So I'm going to drop these in right here. And then what I did want to tell everybody was you're going to keep this, like I said earlier, at a low boil, but if it starts to reduce too much, just add a little bit more water. The next step is where we're going to thicken that up a little bit, and it's going to give us that really good stew consistency right at the end. So potatoes are in. I'm probably going to have to add a little bit more water here in a second, but I'll let this go for a little bit, and then we will finish it up and break out some of that bread from yesterday and have at it. Alright, so the potatoes are now nice and soft. The carrots are soft. Everything's looking good. 2 final things I like to do is I use a finishing seasoning that my buddy from New York, Lex Taylor, makes. We're going to be selling it on our site soon. Put some of that in there. Absolutely delicious. Spice that up a little bit. And then what I like to do is I take about 1/3 of a cup of water, and I'll take anywhere from 1 to 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. And what this is going to do is this is going to thicken up my stew. If you want it more watery, don't add as much. If you want it really thick like a gravy, add a little bit more. But about 1 to 2 tablespoons in some water. You want to make sure you stir this up and don't just throw it in there. You want to have this so it's going to look like a glass of milk. So just mix that up real good so there's no lumps. And then throw this in. I know there's steam coming off there, guys, so hopefully you could see that, but it doesn't take long. It takes 15 seconds. You could already see that thickened up a little bit, and we're going to be good. I'm going to throw a little bit more in there. I like a little bit thicker gravy, stew type consistency to this. So that's it. Looks good. So I'm going to pull it off and let's get eating. All finished up. Got my bread from yesterday to dip. so that's going to be awesome. I'm going to try to get a bunch of the guts out, so all the meat and potatoes and carrots and onion and stuff. First, because I don't have the ladle, but hey, we make do, so we're going to use our measuring cup and then get some of that juice on top. And now is the real test. So let's first let's try to get some on this bread here that we made yesterday. Let's see how it comes out. Hot. Temperature hot, but delicious. Man, really good flavor to it. Everything came together really well. The really positive part of making a stew, especially in a wilderness type setting, is that if you're going to put a squirrel or you're going to put any kind of game in here, you're going to save a lot more of the calories compared to if you try to butcher it up, because most of the time you're going to eliminate a lot of that fat. In that you're not going to really suck on the bones type of thing, but if it's in a stew, it's really breaking down a lot more. For me, I had my deer steak all cubed up, so it worked out fine, but it keeps you warm on a nice cold day like today, and I'll definitely have at least another meal or two out of this. So it's going great with the bread we made yesterday, and definitely a success. Absolute success. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll have more cooking videos coming out very shortly. And as always, check us out over at Coalcracker.bushcraft.com. We do have a cooking class coming up this summer, so if you're interested, check it out on our school page. And as always, stay in the woods, guys.